This week, we will compare data using graphs. The first thing that I want you to notice is the column headings. Under the first column, you will see the word shape. That's where we will write the names of the shapes that we see. The second column heading says number of shapes. This is where we will draw the shapes that we see when we are counting. This is a picture graph, so we will actually draw the picture of the shapes here. Notice the shapes that you see in this picture. We will need the names of those shapes to go on our picture graph. Under the shape heading, we should write triangle, circle, and square because those are the shapes that we have in our picture. Let's count how many triangles we see in our picture. If you counted 6 triangles in the picture, you are correct. So now you will take a marker, crayon, pencil, whatever you want to, and out beside triangle, under the first heading of shape, we will go across, and under the second heading where it says number of shapes, we will draw 6 triangles. Now we will count how many circles we see in the picture. There were 2 circles in our picture, so now you will draw 2 circles. Count the squares in the picture. There were 4 squares in the picture, so you will draw 4 squares on your picture graph. Now that we have completed our picture graph, we will use it to answer questions on page 201 in your math instruction book. The first question says, number of responses in all. And that means that we have to go back and look at our picture graph and count how many shapes we had in all. You can do this several ways. We could just count them one by one, or we could go at the end of each row and write how many we have in all. So if I wanted to count triangles first, I would count those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll put 6 of those. And then I could count my circles, 1, 2, I have 2 of those. And then I could count my squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 of those. Now we will just add those. So over here I could write 6 plus 2 plus 4 equals, and that will give me my total. We know that 6 plus 4 would be 10, and then we just add the 2, so that would give us 12 responses in all. So you should have 12 for the first answer. The second question, it says shape with the most responses. So I go back and look at my picture graph, which one had the most? And if you'll notice, it was the triangle. So I'm going to write triangle for the answer on number 2. Number 3, it says shape with the fewest responses. That means the one that had the least responses. And if I look, it is the circle. There was only 2. So I will write circle for my answer on the third question. Okay. The next question says, there are more blank than squares. So I'm going to come over here and look at the square. I had 4 of those. Which one did I have more than 4 of? So I'll look, and I had more triangles. So I will write triangles as my answer on that one. Okay, and at the bottom it says a question I can ask about our picture graph is, that's up to you. You can look at your picture graph and think of some questions like the ones they've already asked you that you could ask someone about your graph. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to ask you, how many more squares than circles? Okay, so I would write how many more squares than circles? And that is a question, so I'm going to put a question mark. How many more, if you remember, is keywords. That means we are going to do what? Right, subtract. And in subtraction, I'm always going to start with which number? The biggest number. You are correct. So if I go up here and look, which one has more, squares or circles? It is the square. So I will say 4. I already have my minus or takeaway sign here. And circles, I had 2. So 4 minus or takeaway 2 is how many? Right, 2. So 4 minus 2 is 2. So I have 2 more squares than circles. So work hard this week on your work. If you need help, reach out to your teacher. Hope you have a great week.